thank you for being with us. We're watching, we're talking perspective now. Two of our guests today is Etienne Turpin and Anna-Sophie Springer. I had some problems with the names of the event they're holding. They're guest curators of an exhibition that is going to be held in Salihara. The exhibition is titled 125,660 Specimens of Natural History. With such a name, welcome first.
Thank you.
I forgot. With such a name, what is the exhibition about actually?
So this long number, if I can do it in Indonesian, it's 125.660 specimens secara alam. This refers to the collection that the British natural collector Alfred Russel Wallace collected in the 19th century in Indonesia. And so this large number refers to the amount of specimens that he brought back to
But you're
England.
certainly not showing all those specimens here.
No.
Certainly not. Certainly not. But it's an important number to realize, first of all, the incredible biodiversity in Indonesia, which was what attracted him here, but then also the scale of the collection, the 8 years that he spent traveling through Indonesia as a point of departure for the exhibition.
And what does it aim to show? I mean, what is the exhibition about? Is it just showing what Wallace collected, or?
So 150 years or so later, obviously the situation, the land use,
completely changed.
Everything is completely changed.
It's denuded, basically.
Many of the things he collected have gone extinct.
Really?
And so the exhibition uses this history of Alfred Russel Wallace's collection to ask contemporary questions about how art and science view the environment today, and how contemporary Indonesian artists and contemporary scientific practice with the Indonesian Institute of Science, LIPI, how they are collecting today, what is their contemporary work, and the legacy of that collection.
But why take a 19th century naturalist? Isn't there anybody else that you can take as a starting point?
Well, I think one of the reasons we wanted to look at Wallace is because he certainly had some very important views on biodiversity and conservation, views that are still very
valid,
contemporary and valid, but also I think the question of his interest in attention to nature, of being in Indonesia, in the archipelago, and his attention to the details of the biodiversity here. While there are many other people we could have conjured as reference, he certainly has the most rich descriptions and is, of course, one of the most popular, if not the most popular, travel novel ever written. Travel record.
And when we talk term of scale, or it's 8 years or so much specimen, has there been anything similar done since?
No, Wallace is very unique in the sense that he collected by himself so many specimens. So normally, if a naturalist got a large collection gathered, then you'd speak about 20,000 specimens or so. And that is also in the 19th century, not today anymore, because it's much more difficult to get permissions and to
find new one.
Find as well as get the permissions, and the practice of killing all the animals is not done so intensively anymore. So no, that is absolutely unique.
But what did he? I'm still on Wallace here. What did he actually concentrate on? Is it botany? Is it entomology? Is it mammals? Is it what?
There's actually not so many mammals.
Not so many mammals.
I don't know. I don't know the collection. I want to see the exhibition, but what is it?
But his aim in coming to Indonesia was to start to understand the distribution of animals in order to understand and make an argument for evolution, which was a theory that was just, in fact, at the event horizon, so from Indonesia, Wallace wrote to Charles Darwin saying, I have a really interesting idea I think evolution occurs by natural selection. And later that was co-published by Darwin and Wallace, but it's the collection of insects as well as the collection of birds. In fact, birds were the most important element in that argument for him. He collected 8,050 birds in Indonesia, and many of which had never been seen by a European, let alone described. And so that was a very important element of his work. Of course, he also writes one of the most famous descriptions of seeing the birds of paradise.
All right. Why birds? Because I would think that birds are so much mobile, and then they can change region easily.
That's exactly
why
the
birds?
point. That's exactly the point. In the theory of biogeography, the birds are so important because either birds fly across the islands, and so that signifies that the sea in between those islands is shallow, so that the species can travel and they belong to one biogeographical region, or the ocean is really deep. It's two different continental plate situations, and so they are from the Asian or from the Australian continental zone. That's what he figured out by watching the birds migrating. So basically, he says
whether the bird can cross or not, it defines the limits, the boundaries.
Yes.
By the incredibly intense focus on where each bird was found and the spatial mapping of that.
And
it's the line of between Bali and Lombok, the Wallace line, which was the key to understanding that evolution was occurring in two different directions at the same time. It wasn't all coming from Asia.
Unfortunately, we have to break first. We'll be back. Please stay with us.